Hello, and welcome to Remembering Together, the LMJ's podcast. I'm your host, Matt Harold. Each month, we explore the many ways Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia touch our lives, from personal stories of families affected by this disease to the ongoing efforts to find a cure. Join us as we raise awareness, share support, and learn together about the impact of Alzheimer's on nearly 7 million people worldwide. Let's remember together and work toward a future where no one faces this disease alone. Welcome to Remembering Together, an LMJ's podcast. We have made it into double digits to episode number 10. Hopefully, I'm getting better as I do this, but we'll see what happens in episode number 10. As I always like to say, I love to talk about myself, but we have an amazing guest, and she is going to do a majority of the talking today. My name is Matt Harold. I'm the Vice President of LMJ's Lost Souls Alzheimer's Fund, and today I have with me a lifelong member of the memory care space who has spent over 17 years of her career working in the memory care space. Today I have with me Jennifer Lazansky, Community Director at the Indigo at Elmhurst. Jennifer, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Obviously, 17 years of experience. I won't take much of the thunder. I'm going to let you be the thunder and the lightning. So, want to get started? Tell us a little bit about yourself personally, and we'll get into your business and your personal.
Thanks. Well, thanks for having me. Like you said, 17 years. It's quite a big accomplishment in my head.
Started at the age of 5, right? Yeah. So based on my math, that's where we're at.
I'll take it. No, I was actually going to school to be a teacher, a primary school teacher. And I fell in love with memory care when I was the evening time receptionist at a memory care community. And I would have 2 residents hang with me every single night. One looked exactly like Gina Davis from A League of Her Own. And one was a sweet Italian lady that just sat with me every single night.
Wow.
Yeah. And they definitely, my Gina Davis lady, my hair is naturally curly, as you know, would tell me to go home and fix my hair when it was curly because it wasn't professional. So
this was at what age?
Yeah.
Like what? I mean, what? You're probably 19, 20 in that area, right? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's good.
Not professional.
That's good. That's a good ego boost.
Right, every evening. But I fell in love with seniors, memory care. My grandmother, she had Alzheimer's, and that's where I really learned about it too.
Right. Where was this at? Did you start? Where was this facility at that time?
In Buffalo Grove.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in that area?
I actually grew up in Elmwood Park, Italian neighborhood at the time. And then we moved to Long Grove. So that's where I went to high school and all that kind of stuff.
So Elmwood Park, I got to ask, Gene and Jude's, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
No ketchup.
Obviously, that's
Don't
a given. So that's where we're going there. So how long were you in Elmwood Park before you moved?
I think it was about 5th or 6th grade by the time we moved.
No halakahiki in your Elmwood Park loving days. All right, that's fine.
No,
don't. Now, you
maybe
can.
After?
Yes, right. There you go. Perfect. All right. So moved to Long Grove, obviously, then a facility in Buffalo Grove. So from there, kind of take us then. Was that it? I'm in the space now?
That was it. I was obsessed. I fell in love with it. I couldn't get enough of it. My marketing director at that community I would help her. I'd spend a lot of the time helping her in the evening. And she was like, look, there's an opening for a marketing role in a different company, different building, but you've got to take it. And I did. And from there,
Nothing like being given the option. That's good. Okay, yeah. Great.
I mean, I really credit it to her. And,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's taking you, Buffalo Grove and now in Elmhurst. So between, over the course of 17 years, I'm starting there, what has been the biggest change you've seen in your field, I guess I should say?
I'd say over the 17 years, the type of care that's provided, it's become much more person-focused. That's been the biggest change. Obviously, there's the factors like cost and all of that. Everybody's finances have obviously changed in 17 years.
Totally.
And how we pay for things. But the biggest change really has been how we provide the care.
Well, no, Totally understandable. I know you touched on it a little bit, but I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. So obviously you have a personal impact when it comes to Alzheimer's and a personal experience. So you want to touch on that? There's Kleenex here. So
You prepped with the Kleenex.
Absolutely.
My grandmother, she helped raise me. She was it really. Her and my mom are the two biggest impacts on my life. And she was she immigrated here from Ireland, worked her fanny off. My grandfather passed away early and she raised 6 kids on her own while working as the housekeeping director at the local hospital. Yeah. She did it on her own and succeeded. All 6 kids were successful and amazing. But she was diagnosed late in life, and thankfully we have a strong family that was able to help support her and love on her.
6 kids helps in that regard, I hope.
Yeah.
Yes, right?
Yeah. 6 kids.
Right. That makes
6 additional caregiers. Yeah. No, but she actually did
plus
go to a
grandkids, obviously.
Plus grandkids.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Yep. I'd like to say I was one of the favorites. So I was,
So
there.
that's an unbiased opinion on a survey of 1. That's great. Perfect there.
Yes.
So immigrated from Ireland, and as a person who's 100% Irish, you just totally piqued me right there with that. So obviously, at that point when you were going through that, roughly speaking, how old were you when that was going on?
It really peaked when I was about, so probably in my mid-20s.
Okay. So you were in the space then at that, working in the field at that point. So you had some experience obviously there. Yeah,
it's different. Definitely different being a family versus a team member in a community.
Totally. And obviously I would say every person who goes through this as the patient, experience is different. So getting it later, developing it later in life, what was that experience like in terms of what your grandma was like and what changed, obviously?
Well, it really did. They say what you stuff down in your younger years, like in our age, those emotions and those experiences and traumas and quirks, what you kind of stuff down when you're younger becomes amplified and pops out. And it definitely did. Her depression reared up. Her want for isolation and to not even engage at all when she was usually the life of the party. So it became a factor of working with the family and helping them understand that we just need to meet her where she's at this point.
Right.
So
was she ever, obviously being in the line of work you're in, was she ever in a memory care facility or no?
She was in an assisted living.
Okay.
We had hired a full-time caregiver to stay with her in that community. But she was comfortable in the community that she was in.
Gotcha. No, it's good. I mean, assisted living is still requires a lot there.
A lot of care.
No, totally. No. And I know one of the things you pride yourself on or like to talk about is that full memory care. So obviously assisted living is completely different. So want to touch on, in your experience working in different facilities, what it means, when there's a full memory care side and why that's something that I know is important to you.
Yeah. So a full memory care community is they in a community that's just solely focused on memory care and the residents and families that are experiencing it, the training is much different. All the entire team from housekeeping, caregivers, reception, everybody is fully equipped and trained on really how to meet the resident and the family where they're at, walk alongside them, have them be a part of just the day-to-day and every activity. Whereas in assisted living, in memory, if you're a resident or a family with memory care, you don't really get that touch or that attention. You can get kind of lost in the shuffle.
Well, and I think there's a lot of blendedness because people, I think that's where you're kind of going with it, is there's way different ranges on the spectrum of where people are at. So in turn, somebody who doesn't have those same type of Alzheimer's, dementia type issues, being integrated with someone who is cognitively more there, and it's very tough interaction between residents, and then obviously from a staffing perspective, very different there. So obviously you've experienced a lot in the memory care space. So what kind of advice would you give a family member who is going through this for the first time?
That is such an open-ended question. For a family member that's experiencing their loved one, enter that time frame in their lives, the biggest piece of advice, I say it every day to every family. They come to me and they're like, "That's not my mom. That's not my dad. This isn't who they are. That's not your mom who you grew up with." Absolutely. But today they're different and we're going to meet them where they're at. It really is just about joining their journey and jumping on their train with them. For families that are experiencing it, find a support group, find someone to talk to, whether it's at a community or a friend or a church or whatnot. But yeah.
No, I think I often say it to people when they ask me about my experience. I always say, like, my mom died twice.
Yes.
Like that initial feeling of like, you no longer know who I am, or you're not the same person. Mm-hmm. That was like the first time. And then obviously the last breath is, the definition to a lot of people is the true end. But when you're going through this, it's like, no, they're not the same person. They're never going to be.
Right.
As of right now, we're trying to make that change. That's why we're here and why we're doing the things we're doing. But it is something that is very hard to understand, because that was the first time I ever went through it, but also was going, there's no point in fighting. There's no winning. And I meet the person where they're at is, I probably struggled to do that mightily, but that's really, really sound advice, because there's nothing else that you can do. You said it's an open-ended question. So obviously there's a lot of different parts of this. So when it comes down to it, when you're trying to figure out what you should do as a family member, you have, obviously a firm believer in the memory care facility and that. What does timing look like from your experience? I know it's different for everyone, but when's the right time? When is it too late? Is there ever a time that it's too soon?
There isn't really a time where it's too soon or too late. Families notice it and pick up on it at different times in the process. I'd say start acting as soon as you start noticing. I had a family yesterday that I was sitting with, and they're like, you have buildings everywhere, but you can't just pick up a page on Google and type in what to do and get a Q&A. Like, no, you can't get a guide on Google about this. There's no way to do that.
It's called hands-on experience, right? Yeah, no, right.
But as soon as you start noticing, I'd start acting. Forgetfulness, there's a difference between, like this morning, I forgot my wallet in the house. Like, I don't have early onset, but, I forgot my wallet in the house. Now, if it becomes a consistent issue over and over and over again, then it might be time to start talking.
You have a child that makes it that, getting two instead of one ready, right? That's,
yes. We had to get ready for band.
So, that's it. No, totally. No, but I think that's a really good point. I've had multiple people in it over time that we've been doing the podcast, that balancing what is it that is an actual concern versus this is life is very, very different there. So,
well, and it's the unique part about this disease process is that it really is just so personal and so individual. There is, what it may look like for me is going to be completely different for you. So that is something we always have to keep in mind too.
Totally. So when it comes to Indigo, and obviously with the years of experience you've had and seeing different facilities, what is it that makes, and obviously we've already kind of touched on that full memory care, but obviously there's different places that are full memory care. When I'll give you a little bit of the opportunity to give a PSA when it comes to Indigo, but what is it that a good facility in general or a great facility in general? What is it that if somebody's looking and trying to figure this out, what is it that differentiates it?
Yep. A good community, when you walk in, you're going to see team members engaging with residents and families. Like there isn't going to be resident sitting over here and a staff member over here. We're all engaging together. You're going to be able to feel it when you walk in. I've always recommended walking in unscheduled on off hours. I mean, as a community director, it's important your community should be running no matter who's walking in at what time appropriately and caring for our residents.
I like it. No, you just, I often conceptualize a lot of this when it comes to, we come into the world needing all the care in the world and unfortunately leave the world a lot of times needing all the care in the world. And what you just said about the engagement, and we had a new babysitter at our house for our 2 kids, and we walked in the house and our both kids were literally like corralling the babysitter and on top of her, and they were laughing and having a great time. And it was like that feeling of, all right, I don't know what's happened in the last 4 hours, but I have a strong feeling that it went well.
Yeah.
And that same kind of thing, unannounced in a way, we said when we were coming home, we could be 5 minutes later or 5 minutes earlier, and you don't know what's going on. And I think that's huge.
Yeah.
There. So obviously kind of hit on it, engagement there. What are some ways that in your experience and what you do at Indigo to engage with residents, whether it's fun, different, activities? Give some examples of that so people can have an understanding.
So we focus on, and I believe it should be across the board, no matter where you go. Really, like I've said before, walking alongside our residents. So what's important? What was a lifelong interest to a resident? What interests them now, and how can we bring that into their day-to-day? We firmly believe that having a sense of purpose, as we all know, decreases depression, makes you happier, makes you more fulfilled, and that applies even if you have memory care issues. Our engagement program is Montessori based, and what that looks like is walking alongside the resident. So an example, we have a resident who was a lifelong homemaker. She helps every single day set up the dining room, fold the napkins, put the silverware where it should go, the actual setting that she always did every day for dinner. A
lot of us could use that at home.
I know.
Right.
I would love it. Hey, we have a resident who was a lifelong construction worker, and he is constantly fixing things. He walks alongside our maintenance director all day and helps him with every single task. Obviously keeping everybody safe, but that keeps everybody happy. They have their sense of fulfillment and their purpose. And it just brings them joy.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you say Montessori based, so is that kind of like activities that saying like your activity room? Is that what you're kind of getting? Is that what that means? Like, so is there different activities throughout the day? I'm assuming.
Yeah. So we do have a life enrichment coordinator who's our activity director, and she plans activities based on the residents and their likes and interests. So every family and every resident is interviewed with her, and she gets to know their life history, their likes and dislikes, what was important to them when they were 20, 40, 50. And then she implements that in the daily activity program. So for the resident that does the place setting, that is a part of her individualized service plan and her activity program. For our resident that likes to help with maintenance, that's a part of his individualized service plan and his activity program. We do, of course, do large activities. We just had a carnival with Elvis, and I mean, who doesn't love Elvis?
Right.
My 10-year-old loves Elvis.
Right. Forever.
So, I know.
Right.
But those events do happen as well. So
that's cool. I like the individualized aspect of it because, like you said, everyone's journey is different. So obviously the journey's different, but the past is obviously different as well there. So doing all of being in this as long as you have, We kind of touched on it a little bit, but what's one thing that if you go back in time that you had no idea what memory care was, that you learned that's been maybe an aha moment 10 years ago, maybe an aha moment 10 days ago, but really you've seen a lot. So over the course of time, what would that be?
For me, the aha moment was when I was in class to get my certification to be a certified dementia practitioner. The instructor was talking about how, your traumas that you experience when you're younger, the emotions that you experience when you're younger, your likes and dislikes when you're younger that you may have tampered down, tend to pop out. So the resident that swears now all the time, and the family that comes in and goes, that is not, she never swore. I didn't know she even knew those words. Like, she never swore. Well, now she does. Or the resident, I had one that was convinced every day at about 5:30 that her husband was having an affair. Well, her husband had passed away, but she was convinced, and her family had no idea. So it's stuff like that. So that I immediately after left class and called a therapist so I could go to therapy and not be a challenging resident when I live in a community. Because I'll be the one that's probably swearing nonstop or,
Wow. That's the exact feeling that people are so confused when it's like, it's not the person it was, and it's a 180 of it. It's not even like, oh, they never did that before. That's interesting. And it's like, no, that's a different human basically there. So you mentioned the word. So you're an expert, at least on the survey of one by me. So you want to hit on the difference. What is between, not the difference, but Alzheimer's and dementia? Obviously, people use the words sometimes interchangeably, incorrectly.
All the time.
Yes. But so I'll let you. I know, as I joke, sometimes I ask questions that I know the answer to.
Then you should answer it.
But you're the expert. Share with our audience what the difference is.
Families use it interchangeably, and I think that is really where we need to meet them at, honestly. Even professionals use them interchangeably. I've had MDs walk into the community and not understand it, and that's okay, honestly. To me, it is, because just like with our residents, we have to meet them where they're at, and we can educate along the way.
You're making me feel really confident in some doctors right now. That's good. Okay, continue.
Well, just ask a question.
Okay.
You should interview your doctors too.
Correct. That is solid advice. That's a good PSA.
Yes, interview your doctors.
Yes,
and your whatever practitioner you use.
Right. Solid.
But yeah, so I personally, while there are differences with all of it, every step, even from every physical ailment, right? But I think even though they use them interchangeably, it's okay.
It's good.
And it is. I truly do. Yeah.
I got you. No, and there's just people, the idea, and I guess
it's overwhelming.
The idea that
it's
really
scary.
When people, when it gets higher level where it's like dementia's up here, Alzheimer's is part of that, and there's there's an umbrella. Quite a few other things that fall under what dementia is, and people
don't understand. There's so many
Alzheimer's
types.
Is the word. It's kind of become the normal word, but
it's like the hashtag. There's the umbrella. Just think of it as an umbrella, and then everything else that falls underneath it.
It's like, I get it. It's like what I do with my job when I'm trying to explain to people, these are your assets and you want to protect all of them. So I like it. The umbrella works.
Yeah.
Don't use it inside because, it's bad luck.
Bad luck.
There you go.
7 years, right?
Correct. There you go. It's the ladder. Any other thing we want to get into? Mm-hmm. Obviously, when it comes to facility, you've seen different facilities. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you are well versed in why do you get involved when it comes from a philanthropic standpoint and want to be involved in different things philanthropically, a lot of times falling into the memory care arena.
Yeah. Research is important. So how we're going to find a cure, a way to slow the progress, a way to hopefully solve the issue eventually. I love working with LMJs, obviously. got involved with you and Carrie.
I didn't even ask for the plug, but thank you.
No, you're not going to. I'm staring at your logo. Working with you and Carrie Ann, what feels like a million years ago or just yesterday, was meeting two people that are so involved and so genuinely dedicated is huge. But philanthropically, it's finding a cure. It's finding the why and how to even just slow the progress.
Well, we appreciate that there. And it kind of going to go into my next kind of idea. Obviously, being philanthropic is very important. It's a very tough word to say there. But just in general, and you kind of already hit on it, but why do you do what you do? What is it? Obviously, it does a lot of things for you, but you've stayed in the same industry for, as you know, many people do not do that. So why?
For me, it's about the people. I love the residents and the families, even the challenging ones. Mostly the challenging ones more so. There's a need, and I truly hope when I'm in that space, there's going to be someone like me helping my daughter helping her through the process. I don't want her to be, she's an only child, so she's got no siblings to lean on. So I want her to have someone to call at 10 o'clock at night, even if it's the community director of the building I'm living in.
It's a very interesting way to look at it because it's a very forward-thinking idea of something you're doing in the current and that you've done in the past. But it's, and the planning process of that, you're thinking of it very real because it is real. I've had people on the podcast before to talk about how to plan for that from a legal standpoint, a financial standpoint, and then you're talking about it as in the nuts and bolts in the facility. That's not easy there. When you have this experience for people, and especially when it's whether it's one spouse or the other, and the other spouse is still currently living, what is that like? What do you see? I mean, I went through that. My dad's still, knock on wood, very, very healthy and all that. And, to your point, he was there every day, whether if it was 10 minutes or an hour, he made sure he was there every single day. But like that, a lot of these conversations kind of get had about what it's like for the family, be it the kids, that. But what do you see? It's tough to give advice on that, but just to that spouse as they're on this journey.
I've experienced many spouses, and they all need to understand the same thing, and they need the reassurance of he or she still loves you, he or she still knows you. I give that reassurance every day to a spouse or of a resident in our community, and it's every day. Does she still love me? Yep, she still loves you. She still knows who you are. She smiles when she sees you. She talks about you all the time. She absolutely does. We all may forget a name. She may forget his name, but she certainly still knows who he is and still absolutely loves him.
Quality reassurance for that. And that's kind of the spouse kind of question. Now, when it comes inside and it comes to, the team of people, and I'm not asking you to shout out one or two people, but when it comes down to what the employees do, what is it that, they're trying to do, whether it be the person who's in the skilled nursing space or it's the person who is, just trying to be a caregiver? What is it that, they're trying, their end goal, other than just obviously making sure the person's safe?
Yeah. So that could be a loaded question too. But in a community, you're going to see staff that, are coming for a paycheck, unfortunately, and that's their primary goal, which is sad. But then you see
a little bit of honesty. See, that's not a bad.
It is.
It's true.
I'm not going to fluff it.
No.
But then you're going to see the ones that come every single day with a smile. They're looking forward to having that relationship with the resident. the tough part of this memory care and senior living space is there is a lot of transition from a management standpoint. Like our owners or investors or management company, you may see the same building sitting there and it may have gone through 3 different names.
Right.
But you see the same faces every single day coming in 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 11 to 7, working their tailbones off out of love. I mean, it's the second paycheck. We're not in it for the first paycheck, really. What keeps us coming back is for that second paycheck. And it's the love that they have for the residents.
Like transparency right there. I'll start from the top down as you said it, but there's change that happens. And that's, to people can be scary because, hey,
Absolutely.
what's this? Where is it still the same place? Is it, the value still the same?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you mentioned it's now in 2 different ways, the employee side and the family side. The 90-10 rule, like I use in my business, 10% of the people cause 90% of the problems. That's the same for our industry. And, when you're saying that, the tough family or the employee who might not be, there for all the right reasons. But there is a lion's share of them that are there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And there is a lion's share, I'm sure, of families that are beyond easy to work with. And then there's just, I talk to people about this all the time. Remember some of those really good ones because too oftentimes we only remember the difficult ones because they cause the most stress and that on you. There is a reason you're doing this, and it's for all of those other good people is the true reason, and you'll still help the people that make it difficult. But that's life.
Yeah, it is. And I'll have staff come to me totally at a loss with a family or an experience that's happening, and I look at them, I let them vent, and then I look at them, have them take a breath, and I say, put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes and then come back to me and tell me that you're going to look at it differently because it's not easy. And we all handle experiences differently. We all handle emotions differently. And we have to meet them where they're at and what their experience is and be able to guide them through it, even if they are challenging. I am going to be a very challenging family member, 100%. I am going to be a challenging resident. I know it. But it is still so important as a team, as a resident or as a family member to put yourself in their shoes and be mindful of that. So
on the other side of it, I totally get where you're coming from when you say it. And so on the other side, when I've never done what you do, this is where I commend the absolute, out of people like you, people on your team and all that yes, you're telling them, hey, put yourself in their shoes. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, being the people that work there, because I think that goes back to what I say. I don't know how anyone's a teacher. I mean, I love my kids, but I don't love a lot of kids.
Yes.
I don't understand, and it takes a special human being to want to care for somebody like it's their loved one, but that's not their loved one. And then, unfortunately, as we know, the cycle is, those people are no longer in the facility because their time was called, and now it's on to the next family and the next resident. But they do it, and a majority of them do it because they love it. So I get that there's tough experiences for them, but I can't imagine what they are doing and what they're going through. So just a huge shout out because it's not easy. I don't know. I don't even want to guess what it's like to do what you guys do every day because I always said when I went and saw my mom, like, I didn't think about that because all I thought about was like, I hate coming to this place because it's awful, because this is a terrible experience, not the facility, just what I'm going through. And it's not enjoyable. But there was no way I was not going to go. And then you look at these people who are greeting you, welcoming you, caring and all that. And I'm like, nicely said, there's something wrong with you because I don't know why you can be this nice. Like, I'm sitting there like, that's just, me personally. I don't understand how you can be that nice because I'm not that nice. But that's really, I'm nice from a philanthropic standpoint. I can't be that nice because I'm like, how do you do it? But these people do it, and they do it, like I said, 95% of the time with a smile on their face. So major props to you, 17 years in this industry that I don't wish on anyone. And unfortunately, it's something that fortunately something you're really passionate about. So
yeah, absolutely love it.
thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being so transparent about what it's like in the facility world and what you've gone through and seen there. So thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Obviously, you can find out more information about Jennifer. Again, Jennifer Lazansky here with me from the Indigo at Elmhurst. You can visit www.theindigoelmhurst.com to find out more information about them and about her facility. As always, you can find out more information about LMJs through Facebook, through all the different platforms, LinkedIn as well. Again, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. As always, this is a monthly podcast. Love to connect with people like Jennifer, people in this space going through it. Also love to connect with anyone who's got any other type of connection to Alzheimer's support, or has a business or resource in the memory care space. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll be happy to have a conversation and see if being on our monthly podcast would be something that they would be interested in. So thank you again for joining us today on Remembering Together, the LMJ's Lost Souls podcast. We hope the information shared today was beneficial and impactful. As always, as closing, love your family, love your friends, and remember to cherish the time you spend with the ones you love, because at the end of the day, all we have is memories. Thank you.